77, 78, 79. Let's go. Cool. So, this is a kind of an interesting congruency for us too, because we started this whole Trailer Talk webinar series off with a discussion on how to build schedules in Outbuild, the principle behind building from scratch. This will be, after 8 sessions, this will be a kind of two-parter to that, but a first part of a discussion with getting a schedule that you have already had in your system, already included in your company, from a Microsoft project file or P6 file, and finding a very quick way to consolidate some of that information and optimize it for Outbuild. We've run into that for multiple months now when all of our team has been training here on a schedule that has been templated, and the company likes to use that, and they have validated durations and things in it. We're going to show you, we'll do a live demo. I'll jump and do a live demo to actually talk about how to get that consolidated into an Outbuild schedule. So thanks again, everybody jumping in. I will go through the ground rules here in a second, but let's get this thing kicked off. Pause the music, and we are going to go. There we go. You guys see that screen okay?
Yep.
All righty. So what are we going to talk about today? Same kind of agenda view that we're used to seeing. We're going to talk about mastering the master plan. Again, taking a schedule that you've already had as a project file or as a P6 file and optimizing that top level Outbuild so you can leverage the look ahead. You can use the weekly plan. You can really tap into the analytics, the other 3 levels of Outbuild to full potential. This is a part 1. There will be a part 2, and we are projecting that to be around December 11th. We want to stay away from Christmas or that holiday time, because we will most likely be conflicted with everything else you guys have going on. So with that in mind, this second part that we're going to do at the first part of December will be focused on building something fully from scratch. Really want to have some guest appearances from actual Outbuild Outbuild customers come in and kind of role play with us in terms of how they set up a schedule from scratch, with walking through drawings and understanding owner expectations, all of that. So stay tuned for that. We're excited to have that be also included in our next series here. And that will close the year off. Can't believe we're going to do 9 of these in our first year of doing them. That's very exciting for us. So 45 minutes, we'll go through setting up that part 1 of consolidating your schedule. We'll talk about what we have coming out. We'll do a couple Q&A sessions, and then we'll close for the day. But 45 minutes from now. Anybody that's new to this webinar, we do have this set up as you have the ability to chat to everybody. I really appreciate everybody getting in here. We got New Orleans, Calgary. Thanks, Wildstone, joining in Los Angeles. This is awesome. Cool. So, you can see that we have spread to all parts of North America. We really enjoy, seeing these teams grow and feeling your guys' energy in these calls. Feel free to throw stuff in the chat when you feel it, right? But do be respectful. It is open for everyone to see. We have a Q&A section. We'll be stopping and pausing during this presentation to answer those Q&As, but please throw those questions in there as they come up. And then last but not least, this is the real kicker we love to do. Raise your hand if you want to actually maybe ask a specific question. We like this to be conversational. We do have 91 people in this right now too, but I really do appreciate when people like asking questions with a voice. Like you actually can hear it's an outbuilder or somebody out there in the world that's using the software, probably running into the same problems that you're running into. Do not be afraid to raise your hand. I will pick on you. Right? And again, be respectful. There's 91 people in here, so we want to maybe ask a question and then have a discussion real quick and then move on. Anybody's been in a training with me, I don't like to lecture for a long period of time. I like to have conversations back and forth. So I will look forward to anybody who wants to raise their hand. So you guys have seen these familiar faces, I'm sure. Those are facilitators today. But since we are a day before Halloween, we're going to spice it up a little bit. So Ben, the pirate, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hey folks, my name's Ben. I'm a success manager with Outbuild. If you've gone through some of our training videos, you've probably seen me or Brittany. If you've been in a training with me, you've probably heard me preach and nonstop talk. Hopefully it was fun. Hopefully it was conversational. But super excited to be here with you guys. As Mike mentioned, we watched this thing grow over the years, and we're just super excited to continue to share this with us. There's a lot of really exciting news coming down the pipeline that you'll hear about very soon. And hopefully in the time that you've been here, you've seen improvements in the product and hopefully in our service. So again, just a pleasure to be here with you guys. So looking forward to today's chat.
I'll
Brittany.
go next. So ditto on everything Ben just said. I'm success manager for the East Coast. I am coming up on 2 years with Outbuild, and I'm very, very excited about it. I've seen this company grow tremendously. And like Ben said, we have even more exciting news coming very soon. And we always like doing these trailer talks. We had a couple months that was very crazy, and we're glad to be back here and getting to talk directly with our users. So thank you.
Yeah.
Hi guys, I'm Skylar. I'm the newest member of the success team here, and I've enjoyed learning everything with you guys as we're coming up. Like they both just said, we do have new and exciting things coming up. And I look forward to the next end of the year here.
And my name is Mike Wong. I'm head of customer success. I really enjoy putting these on. This was a great, idea we've been talking about for a long time to do these trailer talks and share experiences across our whole community. Again, we appreciate you guys logging in. Definitely appreciate you guys putting in chats and putting in questions. We'll have some more polls sent out as well for you to give us some feedback and see if we can make this even better. So I like to always kind of do a brief overview of the learning resources that are available to you as Outbuild. If you're an Outbuild customer or you're soon to be an Outbuild customer, every Outbuild page has a little icon in the upper right-hand side that allows you to log into our knowledge base. That'll take you straight to YouTube training videos, or you can search keywords and find very specific tailored tailored articles on specific things you're looking for. Also, all of these webinars are posted on our website, outbuild.com. You can find the other 7 that we've done. This will be number 8. It'll be put up about a couple days from now once we get this recording analyzed and processed. So let's talk about mastering the master plan and consolidating from an existing schedule. Like we said, the very first trailer talk we put on, I talked more about kind of philosophy of why Outbuild was created, the benefits of really leveraging a separate but connected look ahead tool. This will be a little bit more of a technical talk on, okay, I have a schedule that I've taken from an owner or I've had in previous projects. It's an MS project file format or some other format. And I would like to really use Outbuild to its full potential. I'll actually walk you through how to do that, right? So hopefully you guys don't have schedules like this. And this is the same video clip that I sent, or I presented in our very first trailer talk. A lot of teams deal with this, right? We as CSs have seen it time and time again. I've had so many discussions with lots of teams that, this is what's written in a spec. This is what we've used as previous examples for schedules. This is something that it has a deep-rooted history in construction, right? This does not help you in terms of really executing the project so its full potential, forecasting constraints, understanding where your major risks are. You can have a team of people help managing this too, but then all of a sudden you're injecting a roadblock or a bottleneck of information through a select number of people that can understand what this is telling you, right? So what we're going to try to do is what Outbuild does well is have a master plan that is from 5 seconds and 5 feet away. You can understand what is the information is telling you, where we're delayed, where a critical path is. It's very clear in a more simplified schedule. And again, that's what this whole talk is about, is making this more simplified. So how do we go from something that's, say, 1,500 line items and put it into something that's 50? This is absolutely possible with Outbuild. It takes a little bit of effort, a lot of involvement from your team to understand the parts that are important of that schedule and tie logic and understand your connections between different milestones and phases. But from one to the other, you can definitely get there in only a couple sessions too. I've had multiple use cases at this point where I've sat with a team that had more than 1,000 line items in their schedule, and they got it down to 200, right? And they're so much more set up for success on their projects because they've taken the time to really understand what is this thing we're driving to? What's the execution point? All right, let's take that piece of the schedule. Let's take that phase that we validated in maybe that full template that we had, that 1,500 line item schedule, and let's inject that and give that to the team that's actually going to be building it and have them fill in the detail, have them commit to that detail and commit to their work. So 4-step process, right? Easy. I'm going to make it sound easy. First rule of Fight Club: understand your project schedule requirements per your specs, right? Understand what your specs say. Understand what, unfortunately, probably has been written in that spec for many, many years, and either your architect, your owner has neglected to change it, or whatever it is. Anybody know the second rule of Fight Club? Question everything you read in that spec. Good God. So here's why I want to make sure we hit this point, and we hit it at the very start of this conversation. I've had, even recently, we were at LCI Congress in San Diego, and I had a lot of discussions with people that have P6 written in their schedule, that they have. You got to get to the 4th level of detail in order to produce a schedule that is acceptable for an owner. And then I want to go talk to a contractor, and they'll say, yeah, it's in the owner spec specifies it. And then we had some owners come through, and we asked them, so why do you dictate a level 5 schedule or a P6 schedule or a MS project schedule that has lots of detail in it? And they'll say, well, that's how the contractors like to control the risk on their project, right? So there's a point here where who put it in the spec? And there was probably a very good reason for it, right? You don't write stuff in specifications if there's not a good reason for it, but make sure it's still a good reason. And I'll bring a couple historical examples to try to hit this point home. Does anybody know why a keyboard is set up the way it's set up, with the QWERTY in the top? I'll open this to chat too. If anybody wants to. Anybody know how a keyboard's set up the way it is? Yeah, attaboy, Steve. You know where I'm going with this. Typewriters. The reason why a keyboard is set up the way it is because the way a typewriter was engineered, that was the best way to keep the keys from jamming and running into each other. When was the last time you typed something on a typewriter? Right? The layout of a keyboard makes no logical sense in terms of the alphabet, but humans have learned how to type on a keyboard based on the first requirement that was made many years ago of where these keys were going to be. Who actually, next point here, when you go to brush your teeth in the morning, at night, I don't know if you brush your teeth twice a day. Some of us are renegades and don't. Do you put the toothpaste on? Ben's one of them. I brush my teeth once a week.
Oh my God.
When you put toothpaste on your toothbrush, do you wet your toothbrush after and start brushing your teeth? Anybody in the chat?
I do.
Who does it? Before and after. Yeah, after makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, after, right? After. The reason why that's stuck, I was taught that way too, that's stuck in our way of thinking, is because you used to have not paste, but powder. It was literally, you had to take powder and put it on a toothbrush, and then had to put it under water to make it something you could actually brush your teeth with, unless you have a mouthful of powder, which would be pretty gross. But again, history dictated that this was a requirement, but nobody has questioned it up to this point. And just think of like the millions of gallons of water that humans waste every year because they still think they need to put water on their toothpaste, even though the water is already there. It's like created to, you can just brush your teeth with it right away, right? Hope you guys think of me too when you're brushing your teeth tonight for this. And then this last one's actually specific to a lot of lean conversations. It's floated around the lean, at least Lean Congress for many years now. But there's a story of a lady was very, very good at making this roasted ham for her family. And the husband and the kids, they finally asked the lady, this is great. Like, especially when she used to make it, the ends would always be cut off. The front and the back of the ham would always be cut off. And they were always asking, like, okay, why do you cut the front and end off of it, right? Like, does it change the taste or something? This is great ham. I really want to know why we do this. And the lady didn't know. So she's like, let me ask my great grandmother, because she was the one that started this recipe. We've been doing this for 40 years. Let's ask her. So they called her up, and the reason why why the front and end was cut off the hand? The size of her pan. Exactly. The only reason why the front and the back of the ham was cut off for 3 generations of this ham being shared as a family was because the pan that this lady had back in the day didn't fit the ham. So she had to cut the ends off of it, right? So again, think of all the wasted ham that you had. And again, the end parts are the best part, right? Like the roast part of meat, the best part, ends. Most people fight over those, right? So again, this is, a tangent on this conversation, but I guarantee you in your specification, there's probably some parts that are the ends of the ham that are just being thrown out, or, the extra step that you need. So just have a very candid conversation with your owners and with your key stakeholders, even your own internal executives for the company of, is this really a requirement? How is this driving the end result of a successful project that was done with a great safety record that our client is super pleased with and they want to do many jobs with us in the future? If it's not this, don't do this, right? If it's not this much detail at the start, if you can distill that down to that first requirement of, I don't need level 5 detail, I don't need to get to single trade inside of 2 weeks detail, don't put it in the specification, right? Don't keep requiring it just because it's been in there. So once you confirm what the requirement is in the spec from every stakeholder of a job, make that clear, right? Say that this was updated at this point, and then make sure it's changing the spec, right? And then I'll show you guys, once you get this built and you can start building schedules in Outbuild based on this principle of this is the process. Best process is no process, right? We cut everything out that's not needed. This is the base level of how we get to a successful project schedule and drive execution of a project. You can template that in Outbuild. And you can actually clone that across many different jobs, and you can benefit from no longer cutting the ends of your ham off, right? Like, understand what you need and you can use it to the full potential here. So let me jump into, we've talked for a bit, so I'll do a live demo of how this works. Bear with me here. I'm gonna stop sharing this screen and I'm gonna go to my main screen. I'll let this pop up here in a second. All right. So here's an example of a schedule that has you guys can see this okay, everybody? Okay, cool. Here's an example of a schedule that has pretty robust detail. It's about 623 line items. And this is just a kind of a demo schedule that we use when we're talking about consolidating some stuff. And you can see that it gets into single trade. It gets into, very specific detail for each one of these different items. Lots of logic tie drawn across this whole thing. Not as bad as the first one I showed, right? But what you're dealing with again too is at this level of planning, you're constraining your ability to adjust your plan, to not be constrained by logic when you have a slight change in your silt fence or construction entrance or whatever it is that's driving your logic on your project. So what we want to do is very quickly expand the space inside of this schedule. And then there's a way to very quickly send this information into the look ahead level and save it. So what you do is you have this project set up. Be good to baseline it too if you just want to start with a baseline. But what you'll do is you'll look at each section of work, and let's just take this demo site work and prep work, for example, right? I can actually choose this work. I'm going to copy this verbatim, right? And then in between these two sections, I'm going to inject a new activity. And I'm going to make this, actually, you know what? Let me delete this other section because this temp power is a repetitive part of this schedule. So I'm going to get rid of this section. So same thing, I'm going to work on this demo site work prep. It's got a handful of items underneath it, but I want to move those to the look ahead because that allows me to work more fluidly, see a bigger picture in the master plan, and then I can have more teams involved on the look ahead level for this work. So I'm going to float between these two. That gives you the ability to inject an activity. I can actually paste that activity in here. And what I'll do is I'll actually copy that same start date. I'll put in the same duration for this full scope of work. And you can see here, I'm actually creating space to move all this work to. And the quickest way to do that from this master schedule view is I can actually choose this section of work, and I can actually hit this button here, which will, it's built to be able to replicate that information straight into your look ahead. So you can create these tasks very quickly as a look ahead item just from hitting this button. And then in the bulk action bar here, there's a button that allows you to replicate it very quickly. So you see in a second that this will create those look ahead items. And then when we get in the look ahead, we can actually move those and copy them into a section here, right? So if anybody's been using Outbuild for a while, you'll know that when little symbols show up on these Gantt bars, that means that there is a task assigned to it in look ahead. These ones are too small to show in this scale of view. But I will actually go to look ahead now. And again, we're focusing on line items 7 and 8. Let me save this real quick. Also, I'm sure people have been using Outbuild for a while. Always hit save. Save as often as you can, especially this level. Matt, hey, you got a question? You want to? I'll turn you on, I think, here. Let me see if you are talking permitted. Let's see if this works, Matt. You might have not been ready to talk.
Yeah, I think that was at the beginning.
Oh, okay. No worries. I will disable talking. Never mind, Matt. No worries. If anybody does raise their hand, though, I can absolutely get you signed up for it. Thanks for catching that, Brittany.
Good.
All right. So I'm going to switch to this next view. Again, just clicking this button here will take you to the look ahead view. And anybody that's been trained on Outbuild, you open up your look ahead by actually first having this activity pane and choosing your activities from your master schedule, right? So for this first one, I'm going to look at, again, you can choose from any range to see what that master schedule is set to. I'm going to show all activities, and then I'm going to go to my section for, let's see here. There's my temp power. Oh, actually, I'm going to make sure this is saved real quick. I just need to refresh this, I think.
Yeah.
Saved it. So this would normally do it. I had it open in another tab just so it would load faster, but I should have just hit the button anyways. So this is going to load, and then we'll see the new activity I just made on the master schedule. I'm going to go to this. I'm going to make sure I see all activities. So here's this. You see these two here, 7 and 8. 8 was that section that we want to move into the look ahead. 7 was that new activity that we created space for you to do that with. So I'm going to select both of these, make sure nothing else is selected. And then again, you'll see we hit that replicate. We took that data from that original file upload. We moved it into the look ahead. Now we can actually clone it and copy it right into this work, right? So each one of these items, they had a start and end date, different steps that were included on the master schedule. So I can actually very quickly include all these. I want to make sure I want to move all this to my main section up here that I have saved. So again, you select the stuff that you've made in that section. And again, the same button, almost in the same place that you've seen in the master schedule, you can hit clone task, and you can move that straight to this demo site work. And what you'll see will happen is now all those activities with a couple clicks, and again, I was a little clunky in showing you all that because I had to refresh the screen. But you can see that all these steps down here now are listed, lined up to the start date, which is the perfect way you want to set up for a conversation with your trades or with your pole planning effort. Of all the different steps. We had abatement, we have site survey, silt fence, construction entrance. And now that's when you have the capability of inviting your team, and they can actually start sequencing when this is going to happen, when they're projecting to get this work done. Let's say some of this is in here. I can move some of this over. Again, we're going to start this on Wednesday. We're going to start this the day after. Construction entrances start at the same time. And then I'll have a couple of these other things happening, right? So again, you just realign that stuff with that one activity that gave you the space in there. And now, again, look ahead level, you don't need to save. It saves automatically. You don't need to remember to save. Every 2 seconds, it saves up to the cloud. I can go back to the master schedule and reload this, and you'll see that number now present on that new activity that I made. So when that new activity is showing those numbers, that gives you the ability to actually cut that stuff that you just copied right out of your schedule. So now we have those 6 activities. Again, there's activity card feature where you can turn this on and actually see all these different activities that I just moved over. That means that this whole section of work can go bye-bye. Bam. And now you have a clean section of work that you can start phasing your work out. And then once you start really doing this multiple times, again, you just start the same kind of sequence of work here. And it gives you the ability to actually ask the question too, is this an important section to consolidate? Is this something we can cut out? You can see I cut out some stuff that we didn't need. Again, referencing that specification. Is this something that is really needed in this template file? It's just 1210. So 1210, this is 34 days.
Don't do what Mike did. He just added a constraint to his schedule. You
That's
should
true.
do that with logic.
I'm just showing them too. So like this will be the next section. And then it's very easy when you're discussing, you know, we're not going to start site utilities until we've demoed and set up the project, right? And put up the fence and everything. So you can actually tie these directly as constraints. And like Ben said, you want to make sure that those major phases are driven by logic. They're not just you kind of placing dates out there, because you're obviously not going to see the benefit of shifting something and seeing what else is affected by it. So I know it's kind of hard to get in a full webinar. We don't want to talk about it for too long in terms of all the different steps, but all of our CSs are trained on how to do this and do this cleanly. We have seen the benefit of moving this stuff and consolidating it quickly. It starts with the willpower to change, and basically the idea of, I have a clean specification, or I've had this discussion with my stakeholders in my project. What is the most important parts that we want to make sure we see? Most of the owners, when you ask them, I was an owner for a couple of years. I want to know dry-in dates. I want to know patient 1 day in terms of a hospital build or healthcare build. You know, I want to know maybe some major MRI rooms when they're done so I can get the equipment in there. It's much more simplified than a lot of specifications dictate. So really challenge that specification and then marry these, you know, first start of your schedule build to those new specifications that you're making. And then as you go through all this, this work basically to build these templates, to build these new specification requirements for a schedule, it's very easy to, once you've got it all worked out and got a good skeleton, that you can clone these, you can template them. A lot of project teams will create an Outbuild template project and they'll just clone these schedules directly into it, right? So I can go and move this to any other project that I'm invited to. I can move this to any other work that I have in terms of the next job that's very similar to this that I want to set up. Very easy to get that stuff moved over and then benefit from the standardization of the scheduling activities. Any questions? Do we have any in the Q&A too? I don't have my Q&A open.
No questions in the Q&A yet.
Okay, gotcha. Cool. So hopefully that brought a little bit of value in terms of how to consolidate this from an existing schedule. I do teach this with a bit of a word of caution, that you want to question even that first schedule, right? That first schedule that has all that detail in it, the structure it's set up. A lot of those are resulting from the same problems with the typewriter, the toothpaste, and the ham, right? They're built that way because MS Project, the only way you could build an MS Project and validate a full schedule was you had to put everything in there. You had to tie it all logically. Don't let that requirement live through the ages without being questioned and questioned heavily. And then once somebody says this is a requirement, put their name on it, like in the specification. Joe says this is a requirement for this reason. And the reason you do that is because if something does change in the future, Joe is the one that put their name on it. Joe is the one that said this had to happen because of so-and-so process. You can, cross-reference to that first requirement. Construction is changing so quickly. It's been changing quickly, but our requirements have not changed, right? The specifications have not changed to keep up with drone tools and Outbuild and, open space and all these other different tools that are allowing us to do a better job at building buildings safely and with higher quality. We need to keep those specifications up to date and then train those next teams to also understand this is what drives execution, right? And that's why we exist to help change the scheduling and planning portion of that. So we have, let's see here, we have about 15 minutes left. I will go back to my presentation. And we'll talk quickly about part 2, what really part 2 is going to be about. So,
Hey, Mike.
Oh, go ahead.
We've got a request to summarize the 4-step process again.
Oh yeah, for sure. No worries. So it's really about confirming, thank you for whoever asked for that. It's really about confirming what the specification requirement is to the root of, okay, I know that we need a 2-level schedule, which means it's, you know, your first work breakdown, and then it goes into a phase that includes some trades up to a 10-day duration or something like that, right? It should be written to be very clear of a requirement that is quantifiable, right? Like, how are we setting up this requirement? Don't let these legacy ideas and things that you can't prove that are important for a job live within that requirement anymore, right? So we want to consolidate that stuff and make sure that we clarify that requirement so that those templates that you're creating in each one of those different sections of work are confirmed, and you can save that as the history of the project and different projects progress. I think did they maybe mean, okay, yeah,
Nope,
so
you
that's
got
for
it.
them. Cool. And again, too, that I would love to. We just did this with a company called WPC, who had a large schedule. I think it was like 700 line items, and they consolidated it down to like 150. And they are off to the races now in terms of they're about to go live with all their subcontractor team. That will, and there you go, Brittany's making scribes already too of all this stuff, which is great because it'll summarize in much cleaner fashion of what I just taught you guys. But the ideas will still hold of get to the main parts of the schedule that are important, make sure that those live throughout the test of time, even through different templates, and then make sure we update those requirements so that we're not losing out on new opportunities or making a process for something that doesn't need to be a requirement setup. Let me show you guys what we're working on too. This will be, so the next one, again, I'll really want to walk through like a demo project of here is a drawing set, here's how we're going to set up this project, like how to really think about building from scratch, which is your other option that we really push for in Outbuild, because it forces you to rethink how this project is going to be built or this type of project is going to be built. You really got to, start from, all right, where are we going to get to this side of the project first? Who's going to be involved in this build? What's the right size, right? If you're really interested in tact as well, like understanding your location-based size and who's your driver through that rate of trades of work, right? All that stuff is really driven upon a fresh perspective of how you set up the schedule. And then again, the more vague that schedule can be, the more you can adjust it, more you can be robust to change. You're not going to have just 3 line items in it, right? But you want to have major milestones and just major phases involved. So we're really going to talk about that in the next session. That'll close out the year for our trailer talks. Always like to mention too, iPad app. We've gotten a lot of uptick of usage. If you're still struggling with going from master to look ahead, the iPad app is a viewer into the look ahead, right? So you really got to leverage what we're teaching now of opening up that space in the master plan so that your iPad app can show and give your team the ability to have a part of planning into that second level of Outbuild, right? Which is the look ahead. Again, you can track progress, constraints, you can check crew sizes, you can quickly adjust tasks. We even just released a feature where you can send modification requests through this iPad app now, and the actual support chat to our CS team here is populated in the iPad app as well. A lot of new benefits. Love showing this. We live in the trough to help you. You're going to reach a point where, hey, this is awesome. I really want to try this. And then you're looking at a 1,500 line item schedule and you're like, wow, this is going to be tough. Happened to us. That's why we exist, right? It's why the company Outbuild itself has not sunk, but invested money in a robust customer success program and department, because that's what we know is the benefit of all of our clients, right? All 4 of us love the trough and getting you guys up to productivity, right? That's really where we kind of get the gasoline to our engines in terms of what keeps us running throughout the day, is seeing teams be like, oh wow, this was tough, but I'm glad we went through it because it's really changing how I'm doing things for the better. Let me see here. All right, so real quick on what we've done. We haven't talked it a little bit too. It's been a couple months. So we've done a lot in the last couple months. here's the stuff that's on the current development cycle right now. We're working on dictating driving predecessors. This will be like a column actually tell you when you're looking at your logic, what is actually driving those predecessors. We're working on performance optimizations, look ahead exportable improvements, really adjusting that dashboard view that everyone likes to see so that we can really change behavior. Say it in every one of my trainings, basically show me how I'm measured, I'll show you how I perform. If you can show a clear data point that's tied by math, mathing kind of thing, there's no way that somebody can refute some of the data that's coming out of that. So that analytics dashboard is super important for us to change behavior. I'm showing closed icons on submittals, so you can see all the submittals listed, whether they're open or closed or not. iPad offline schedule viewer, so you'll have a view of your schedule as a static view when you're out in the field without internet. And then this is all the stuff we've done. So if anybody's tried the new timeline view filtering, where you can actually filter the different resources that you have listed to each one of your projects, that's a full portfolio view of your whole company and the schedules and Outbuild. You can filter by resource now for that. Auto import directly from Procore. So now you can have Procore send new people and new companies directly into your Outbuild project. They'll get invites. It's a no-touch system of getting people involved in planning and scheduling. User management improvements. We've drastically improved your ability to re-invite, to see who's logged in, to change invites or statuses. We made much bigger view so you can see more users at once. You can edit the look ahead exportable now. We're actually coming out with another version of this where we had a lot of people request of, they like the daily view where you can see it on one page, but they wanted to change some of the column views or change, some of the data that they're exporting at a look ahead. All of that stuff. You can hit a Gantt view now that actually captures exactly what you're looking at on the screen. And we're continuously making that better. And then 2 iPad updates coming too, or that are done actually, the submit modification request and then the support chat, like I said before. Any questions from anybody on here on any of this stuff that's coming out or other features that you're interested in?
And folks, when you log in, you should start seeing some windows pop up in some web pages. Those are surveys that go directly to us and to our product team to help shape some improvements that we're building. So I get annoyed by those things when I'm in other platforms, but if you take a moment, your voice will be heard most loudly there. So please take an opportunity to do that.
Don't hit the X.
It's hard not to sometimes, but yeah, we're hyper focused on construction and planning. So again, we live and die off feedback from the 88 people that are still listening to us right now, right? So that's hyper important. Of the support chat, it can also be a feedback channel too. If you want to send in a quick request of, hey, I don't have an issue right now, but I really want to suggest because I'm working on it now, if maybe this is an improvement someone else has asked for. We love kind of having that conversation through the chat. So any other standing questions? There's no way I explained this cleanly enough. There's got to be people with questions out there. I'm flattered by people thinking I explained that cleanly enough. That's funny. I don't see the.
Yeah, everybody. I think everybody had a good time, Mike. You
Yeah.
explained it well. We didn't see a major drop off when you started talking. It stayed the whole time. So I think
It was funny. There was a couple people that dropped off when you started talking about ham, but after that,
again, you see how we treat each other in this team, which is great. Yvette, I see you raised your hand. I'm going to allow you to talk. Let's see if, hey, Yvette, how are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thanks for raising your hand.
So I uploaded a schedule from projects into Outbuild, and because my project's currently going right now. So the only main tab I had was construction. I didn't have like the big bold sections out like you did. So how do I create those in the schedule in Outbuild so I can link the different things to it? If that makes sense.
Which company are you working for, by the way?
Catamount.
Catamount. Hey, that's one actually I'm transitioning to Skylar. But yeah, no, I can definitely kind of go offline and see this one-on-one in a Zoom call with you. Most likely, either what happened was you imported something and it maybe didn't show the hierarchy correctly. and it's just one. Is it one block, or are you saying it's just like one big chunk that's not showing any summaries?
It's just like, I didn't have the different sections broken out, so it's mostly a civil project, there's no buildings on this project, so it's mostly a civil project anyways. But
Yep.
like, there is a water line that goes in there, and there is like a demo and clearing section like what you had. But I didn't
Gotcha.
have those blocked out separately that way, but I have them all logically linked together. So should I add those blocks in my project file and then upload it to Outbuild so it's blocked correctly that way in Outbuild, so I can just stack and reduce everything the way that you did?
Yeah, I think you even have the opportunity now too, that maybe that if, since that hierarchy is not fully vetted in the load that you have, you're even a step
Yeah.
further of being able to move that pretty quickly over. So let me hit you up with a specific just link to a one-on-one with Skylar and I, and we can go
Okay.
through and definitely get that compiled for you.
Okay, awesome, thank
Thanks.
you.
Thanks for raising your hand. Really appreciate it. All right, disable. We got Margarita. Let's see what Margaret. Oh, you don't have a question anymore, Margarita?
Oh,
Did I
she's
scare
back.
you?
She's
Oh,
back.
she's back. She's back. There we go.
Hello,
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I just got jealous and I also would like a one-on-one consultation.
No worries.
You offered because I'm trying to type in the help and my question is kind of very specific.
Mhm.
So I messed up with the baselines. It's not related to what you were discussing today. I did not save my baseline early enough, and then I started saving different things. And I have two different baselines, but I think I have saved them as different projects. Can I overlay them and compare them? Can I integrate them?
I think your best bet would be to, I don't know, CS's. One of you is smart. One of you is smarter than me and can figure the best way to.
Unfortunately, I think we'll need to review your schedule.
Okay.
The baseline function is very powerful, but due to the requirement of it has to be a snapshot of your current schedule. The only option we have is to, it only takes effect the moment we save that baseline. So we could certainly take a further look at your schedule to better understand.
I have
where-
saved them both separately, so I could go back to my original baseline and import the.
Right. When you use the term baseline, are you talking about two separate schedules?
Well, it was the same schedule, but I saved it multiple times.
Right. So, but
I
those
had a little bit of issue with the
are
saving process. I
totally
saving
understand.
it from scratch in Outbuild. I did not
Right.
import.
Totally understand. The baseline feature that we're talking about is actually a function within the schedule module. It's not a matter of saving out separate schedules. So, we could certainly take, a further look to best understand what's going on there. But we don't have a way to overlay separate saves of a schedule.
But if the data is there, there's definitely a way that we can get it into one baseline at the way you're trying to view it. Just
That's
might
what
take
I
a little-
want to do. How do I integrate them so it shows us progress instead of two separate things?
Yeah, no, you have all the
As an
data there,
update.
so we can which company are you working for again too?
Bobo Construction.
Okay, yeah, we can definitely have, that's another one of your Skylar. So we'll hit you up again too, same as the Catamount question, and we can
Okay.
definitely do a little one-on-one and get you worked out. So thanks
Thank
for
you.
asking a question.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
No worries. Cool. Anybody else? Any questions? Awesome. We are right at time too. So we do want to, again, be cognizant, mark your calendars for part 2. This will be more of a discussion, and we're hoping to bring some actual Outbuild customers in to do a little role playing of like a subcontractor, an owner, an architect, and some other people setting up a major project. If not, we might have a couple just Outbuild employees come in as different role playing positions. And then enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. If anybody else has any other questions, don't stick your head in a pumpkin though, if you can avoid it. Don't eat too much candy too. I did that last year. My kids got brought lots of candy and they didn't eat any of it. And my wife and I ended up eating all of it. So it's a problem that happens every year.
Awesome.
Thanks again. Enjoy your Wednesday, everybody. We'll
Yep.
talk again in about a month and a half.
Thank you,
Thanks,
folks.
everyone.
Thank
Happy
you.
Halloween.